Hi everyone, my name is Megan Cline. I'm part of the second generation here at Cline Family Cellars.
And I'm Tom Gendall. I'm the Director of Winemaking and Viticulture. And we're here to chat to you today about the new range of wines that we're releasing for the on-premise only called Seven Ranchlands.
Seven Ranchlands really celebrates the 7 different ranches and vineyards that we farm across Northern California. It's also a nod to the 7 Cline children who are dedicated to continuing the meticulous stewardship of the land across these vineyards.
Yeah, the Seven Ranchlands wines are amazing. They're for the on-premise only. They're a wonderful range of wines with great structure and acidity and pair well with a wide range of foods.
What's also really wonderful about all of these wines is that they come in screw caps, so really easy access. We're also donating $2 of every case sold to regional and national restaurant relief funds to help those who are most heavily impacted by COVID-19.
Cheers.
Cheers. Right now, we're actually in our J. Poppy vineyard in the heart of Sonoma Valley in the Carneros AVA. Carneros is most well known for growing Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and we grow both of those things here. It is heavily influenced by the San Pablo Bay, the cooling effect from the San Pablo Bay, and its close proximity to the Petaluma Gap, so we get those winds coming through in the afternoon. So cool growing region, and it's also home to our visitor center and our winemaking facilities.
Yeah, we're right here in the Chardonnay, one of the Chardonnay blocks that goes into the Seven Ranchlands. It gets a mixture of barrel fermentation, stainless steel fermentation, gets a mixture of wild yeast and inoculated yeast to give us richness, texture, fresh acidity and grapefruit flavors. It spends about 10 months in barrels and gets about 30% new French oak.
Next, we're going to talk about our Sauvignon Blanc, Jacuzzi Family Vineyards, which is across the street from our J. Poppy vineyard. Our Jacuzzi Estate vineyard is planted partially to our Cline Sauvignon Blanc, as well as a number of other Italian varieties. And this is such a special property because it is a dedication from my father to his grandfather, Valeriano Jacuzzi, who taught him everything he knows about growing grapes and making wine.
Yeah, the vineyard's pretty young, so we've only had a couple crops so far. The 2020 is the first crop, and it is beautiful. The majority of the fruit comes from out Solano County, from a couple of great families who grow up there. We get fresh fruit flavors, nice acidity, and then the balance is topped up with our own fruit from here at Jacuzzi Family Vineyards. We do mostly stainless steel fermentation. We want to keep it nice and fresh, tropical fruit flavors, and crisp acidity.
Yeah. And then in the early 90s, Cline expanded west to what is now the Petaluma Gap in the Sonoma Coast AVA. We have 2 vineyards out in the Petaluma Gap. One is our Catapult vineyard, and the other is our Diamond Pile vineyard. Both of these are super special. Petaluma Gap is such a unique growing region that's really defined by the winds that comes through every afternoon and the foggy mornings, just making for this extended growing season for full flavor development.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to grow grapes, and the wines really show that. The Seven Ranchlands Pinot Noir comes from Catapult Ranch and Diamond Pile. Picked at the perfect ripeness. It's some of the latest ripening Pinot Noir in all of California. Usually picked in the first couple of weeks of October. It spends 2 weeks on skins, getting really gentle extraction for the great flavor development, and we use natural yeast as well. It then gets malolactic fermentation and goes into barrel and is aged for about 15 months with a mixture of oaks, 40% new, from France, America, and Hungary.
So it's actually what we're drinking right now.
Cheers.
It's delicious. So the next ranch land that we're going to be talking about are 2 properties in Oakley, Big Break and Bridgehead. And these are integral to the history of Cline. This is really where Cline got started. When my dad was 14 years old, he would spend his summers coming up from Los Angeles to spend his summers with his grandfather in Oakley in Contra Costa County. Oakley is home to some of the oldest vineyards in California. These are 100-plus-year-old vines, mostly Zinfandel, Mourvèdre, Carignan, with some Palomino in there as well. It's just a really incredible growing region. The soils are all sandy. It's almost like beach sand, but it's right next to the delta, so you're getting a great diurnal shift, really preserving the acidity out there. And these old vines are really giving you a lot of concentration and a lot of depth of flavor.
Yeah, the next wine is Seven Ranchlands Cabernet Sauvignon. The majority comes from 2 family-grown vineyards in the Alexander Valley, and the rest of it comes from Contra Costa that gets planted in. It's a gorgeous wine. We pick it right at ripeness and spends about 2 weeks. It gets wonderful pump overs, gets a lot of extraction. We're building a rich structured wine, and then it gets 2 years on 50% new American oak to add a nice sweet, savory, nutty complexity to it.
The final vineyard that we're going to be talking about is in Tehama County called Meadowbrook Ranch. And this is planted to a number of different varieties, including Alicante, Grenache, Zinfandel, and it's a really, really unique growing region. So it is red volcanic soil, really amazing, and super high elevation. So there's a huge diurnal shift, really preserving that acidity, making for really unique, interesting wines. It's also a working ranch, and we have a number of orchards and fruit trees that all go to our organic farm located in Petaluma.
And our final wine is the Merlot, grown predominantly here in Carneros at the J Pop Vineyard, and a small amount comes from Catapult Vineyard over in the Petaluma Gap. Some of our last ripening fruit. It's a great place to grow Merlot. It gets 15 days on skins and no yeast is added. It's a natural fermentation, and then it spends 18 months in oak, and 35% of that is new French.
Thank you guys so much for coming on this journey with us. We had so much fun introducing you to our new range of wines and telling you all about the 7 ranches and vineyards that we farm. We hope you enjoy, and cheers!
Cheers!